Quiet on the set, rolling. In July 2nd, 2009, we broke ground in the middle of our 10,000 square foot lot over on the corner of 25th and Fawn Avenue. We have that courtesy of Surface Technologies, Mr. Brian Stump. We do not own the land, we use it by their good graces. The site was houses coming out of 1860, 1870, 1880, we don't know exactly, and those houses were demolished in the late 50s, early 60s. In the soil we found, thank you! Bye-bye. In the soil we found rocks, bricks, brickbats, rubble, stone, door hinges, lock sets, etc., etc., etc. All kinds of debris that is interesting archaeologically. We found coins going back to, I think, a 1921 penny is the earliest we found thus far. Fascinating. Gardening is also a little mini archaeological experiment. We built our first sifter, 2 feet wide, 4 feet long, quarter by quarter welded wire mesh. Very good, nice, beautiful fine soil coming out of it. Lots of artifacts. We're getting rid of our weeds. They're going into a bucket or a wheelbarrow on one end. Stone and rock are going into another bucket. And it's taking a long time. We're making a beautiful product, but it's just taken 3 forevers. We enjoyed it. We jumped up to the next one, which is the same rough size 2 by 4, half by half welded wire mesh. It upped our productivity tremendously, and now we're putting shovels full of soil on top of this and using a glove, heavy glove, because there's lots of glass, broken bottles in the soil also. So it's a very Zen-like, it's almost a medieval technology, but it afforded us the opportunity to talk with one another about history, philosophy, the affairs of the day, etc. Most enjoyable, but again, not efficient enough to prep 10,000 square foot lot. We're looking at about 7,000 to 8,000 square feet that we want to have under cultivation. We're here to raise fresh organic vegetables for Union Mission, Food Not Bombs, and Catholic Worker. That's our mission statement. We're additionally, item 2, we are a teaching garden for little ones. Bing, 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 bing. This is a seed, this is a weed, this is a plant, this is a carrot, this is a potato, etc., etc., etc. And the kids are taken to it like ducks to water. We've had thus far the children from the YMCA Summer Youth Program. We've had visiting groups of 10 students from Baldwin Wallace University, Baldwin Wallace College in Ohio, came down as our guests, and they volunteered with us as what we call a crop mob, which is any group of characters that comes together to assist a farmer or a gardener. And they were just great young men and women. We are currently in our second and a half. We're going to have our second anniversary this coming July 2nd, and we've had Governor Tim Kaine was our guest when we broke ground, or shortly after we broke ground in 2009. He visited us. Primarily he was visiting Bev at the garden, but he did pay us a little bit of attention, which was gracious. And we, since going through this process of finding all this rubble and debris in the soil, I said we've got to come up with a better, stronger, more efficient way. I looked at large, flat screen sifters, usable, workable, but then I dug into it further, and the further I went, the more I found the ancient Trommel. I understand from some friends who have done more digging than I that this goes back to BC era, and that the Romans used it in their preparations for, I guess, their industrial construction. I found the first reference that I was able to locate in Stockholm in 1801. I do know that these are used on a huge industrial basis, units as big as this building, for municipal waste, for processing soil, processing material for gold extraction, silver extraction, metals, semi-precious metals, and gemstones. In all the research that I did on the internet, I did not find anything that was appropriately sized for what we wanted to do. We've got about, as I said, 7,000 to 8,000 square feet of soil that we want to prep to a depth of about 1.5 feet, and that breaks down into somewhere in the range of about, I think it was about 280 cubic yards of soil, or somewhere around 30 full cement mixers, and that's a lot of material. So working with garden volunteer Randy Harrell and other volunteers, Charlie Kelly, Kevin Stewart, James Everson, we worked out of Randy's scrap metal pile. We found an old stair stepper, which is the base for the chassis for the wheels. Randy, who's an extraordinary welder, extended it, as you can see here. James Everson found us those 12-inch wheels, which are perfect for this baby. We got two used 55-gallon drums. We had bits, pieces of machinery that we cannibalized. The motor, which is a 1/2 horsepower, 110 motor, single phase, was from an old mixing machine. The stock you see here is pieces and parts from some old steel bed frames, chopped, cut, welded, primed, and painted. This rotating mechanism down here, or these carrier wheels, are from an abandoned shopping cart that we just chopped and cannibalized and welded in place. As you can see, I'm going to do just a light lift here. I'm not going to go anywhere serious, but it's movable. We can move it around to wherever we need in the garden. It's got some substance. It's a couple of hundred pounds. The way it operates is 1 or 2 men working in conjunction with each other, and we've done this because we've got a team now. We've got about 14 or more full-time regular volunteers at the Tri-Neighborhood Community Garden in Thorfinn, and that's our primary, is to get that soil in as what they call friable, or to put as much, to build what they call tilth into the soil, which is it's clean, all the broken glass is out of it, the scrap and the rubble is out of it, and we have now tons of compost that are ready to be amended, added into the soil. Additionally, it gives us, through this, the ability to add sand, peat moss, core fiber, vermiculite, perlite, sponum moss, and really amend the soil for that specific planting that we want to do. Here, we're feeding in 2 shovels. At this point, this is still shovels. So we've got 2 men feeding in. You'll see an expanded metal plate in the middle of that. The material, soil and or compost, strikes that, falls down into what we're calling the breaker chamber, and the breaker chamber is reinforced and beefed up with these angled pieces of old bed frame right angle steel bar, and they're bolted in place, and we're getting 42 revolutions per minute. And I'm going to go ahead and energize this for us in just a second here. Ready, clear, quiet on the set, rolling, and motion. As you can see, it's a little bit eccentric. The the barrels were used. Everything here is recycled, and I'll get out of your way so you can shoot it from the access end if you want. And the metal angled pieces hold compost and soil up at this end to break it significantly. And then we're going to walk down. We're going to walk to this end, and you'll see she's at a little bit of an angle downward, and the finished sorted soil and compost is going to fall into either wheelbarrows or pool liner or a tarp right here to be captured, and then gravity is going to pitch out sticks, rocks, bricks, stones, rubble, glass, rubble, etc. into a wheelbarrow trash receptacle which will catch our debris for either further recycling or disposal at this end. Break, cut, stop.